Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Fake TV's The Lost Begotten channel. I am Fake TV's The Lost Begotten. And no, I haven't been watching Craig Ferguson lately. I just kind of miss doing so. Kind of giving it a break for a while so it can get funny again, because I was just watching it every night for several weeks there. Several months ago. I think now is like the point where I'm going to have to watch it again soon, because apparently I'm being a cheeky monkey on camera. So anyways, I'm Sean, aka Nothan, aka The Lost Begotten, and here is the rest of my head. And no, I'm not going to be standing like this for the whole video. I'm not quite ready to film yet, but I don't care. So I just hit record after I set up the camera. And now I'm cleaning up all the disasters of crap that I left myself yesterday. When I was tinkering with some milk jugs, apparently. I have cadavers of milk jugs everywhere. And that's not really helping the cleanup process, is it? So, what I wound up doing, you can just get right there for a little while. This is what I call a useful piece of cardboard, so I'm not going to throw it away just yet. What I wound up doing is making this thing here, which kind of looks like some kind of weird raver mask, right? No, it's a larva trap. See, what you do is go in down above the eggs, like so. And I don't know if the size of this one's going to work out quite well. Probably going to have to lean it back like that, right? And maybe cut out a little more on this side, right? And just have it kind of sitting at that angle. But the idea is the light is a lot more apparent right in the middle, so the little baby fish go right up there, and right on the side right there I'm going to have a slow air bubble, okay? And it's going to go bloop bloop bloop, and it's going to guide the fishies right up this tube right here, and they're just going to come bubbling over into the container, which is watertight. Are you ready for a campfire story? Too bad, because we're not having one. Okay. Alright. So I'm just going to find a place for this contraption. I'm in the middle of massive setup arrangements here. Behind me is a 25-gallon or so round tub for the clownfish larva. And what it does is it allows the larva to live a obstruction-free life as they would in the middle of the ocean. And shit. Basically, I got it plumbed. Let me use this thing. I got it plumbed down here with an overflow. Shit. Okay, let me just do it the right way. I got it plumbed down here with an overflow. And yeah, I'm going to talk about real stuff in a second. Just, you know, just updating people who want to be updated. So it overflows down into the bottom tank. And I have two air hoses going into one, creating a pretty nice little current. And I have bubbles below that, kind of making a you know, a big counter rotation thing. So the bubbles take the water up, that takes the water out, and it just kind of flows back from there. And then, of course, constant overflow, so I have constant water quality. And that's where the baby fishes are most likely going to be reared. And what I've been using for a okay, why am I upside down, or are y'all upside down? I'm not upside down. I promise. Okay, why is it doing that? Alright. Knith. 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 That's definitely backwards. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm going to have a little coffee. I'm using this guy to beat like a little drum. No, I'm using this as a dust cover because I've just been dying to find a use for that damn thing for a very long time now. I'm pretty sure I bought it and then decided not to use it. That's a 10-gallon undergarment filter. I think I bought it for this one back when I first set it up. And then I got talked into the modern way of doing things with the sand and whatnot. I was going to run reverse flow. Automotive tools. Handy in the aquarium business. You don't want to put that inside your tank, but if you drop something behind it, holy shit. Alright, that's just going to go there. Nets, airline hose. Pointless Tupperware lids that were almost useful. And gaskets and markers and cut zip tie pieces. And I'm gonna vacuum the house later. Okay, that does not work. Alright, let's see here. Pointing the camera of science. Oh my god, we're almost to where I'm actually going to talk about an important thing. For those of you with patience, I thank you. For those of you who are actually interested in this kind of shit, you're cool. So, cigarettes. No, where's the pack with the actual cigarettes in it? Shit! Oh, okay. If I was a snake, wait, no, if they were a snake, they'd have bit me right in the ass. Okay. Cigarettes, lighter, coffee, and notes, which I just realized I don't know if I completed before I started this. So, I did not remember to clean this table off. Paper towels go there, so that when I have wet things, which I very often have wet things, I can just kind of set them in there and let them drip dry, and that way I have a last stage use for paper towels, so I'm not really wasting any, you know? Alright. So, welcome to the show. I am the Lost Begotten, Nothin, Sean, whatever the fuck you want to call me, I don't really care. Just don't call me anything that has the same 3 letters as dog. I mean, I don't really have anything against dogs, but to compare me to an ancient god is like comparing a man to a dog. Okay? Okay. That rather boastful statement out of the way, you know, a little bit poetic, I think. I would like to talk about the election. A bit reluctantly, I must say, but it really seems to me like 99% of all of you are beyond clueless. Okay, and I really don't mean to be insulting, okay? I really, please don't react emotionally to this. This is very important, Okay, and it's very important that you grasp the reality of this situation and stop thinking emotionally. Because emotional thought isn't. Alright? And what you have here are two specialists in triggering emotional thought. And that is Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. They are, yeah. Grammar. I can use it sometimes. One person who does not know how to cleverly use or provoke emotional thought, obviously, is Hillary Clinton. Now, I know that I'm on YouTube right now. And I know on YouTube, Hillary Clinton equal bad. Okay? So, you know, save your fucking complaints for somebody who gives a shit. And who doesn't know infinite times more than you do about the situation. Okay? I know all your little conspiracies and all the reasons why you hate Hillary. I just know more. Okay? But, we're not going to talk about that yet. What I really want to talk about, what I want to start talking about, top line of the notes, is Trump heart Bernie. Now, Trump loves Bernie. And why? You see, Trump will say he would rather have Bernie than Hillary. It's a very interesting thing for a Republican candidate to say. But when asked about, you know, would Bernie support Hillary, anybody sense just a little bit of reluctance, maybe a lack of enthusiasm in his response? I find that even more odd. Because you'd think it would be a no-brainer that Bernie Sanders would absolutely hate Donald Trump, even more than Hillary. I mean, especially if Hillary is a model of capitalist corruption the way YouTube portrays her, and Donald Trump's some fucking hero, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, we're really into accuracy now. But if Hillary Clinton is supposedly some sort of capitalist, okay, then A, Donald Trump would like her better, right? And then, you know, like what? It's, the whole circle jerk of who supports who should be more apparent, but isn't, and that makes it very confusing. And I find that very interesting, because what it tells me, and this is you know, I have a few more observations, but you can just pretty much do general observation on what's going on here, and see that Bernie and Trump have been kind of working together against Hillary. They've been saying a lot of the same things about Hillary. They've been saying a lot of the same underdog kind of arguments, you know? And neither one of them have very much pride in this country. They have pride in their vision of this country. But Bernie Sanders is a socialist, and he doesn't like this country. Okay, he doesn't like many things about this country at all. He likes what he could do to this country. Okay, Donald Trump does not like this country either. He does not support anything patriotic. He has done nothing patriotic. He's exactly the type of person that makes Republicans look bad. He is the archetype. And in fact, I believe he was sent here by God Almighty to test people. It's an idiot test. If you fall for his bullshit, you fail. So, I just want to talk a little bit about the media coverage, okay? See, if I look at YouTube, and it don't matter if it's CNN, Fox News, or MSNBC, what I see is a significant, obvious ratio against Hillary Clinton. As if the media prefers to see this battle between Bernie and Trump as opposed to Hillary Clinton. I find that fascinating, especially considering that all these people who claim to be against media seem to be working with them. But you can hate on me and get your information from those fucking people if you want to. But if you bother hearing me out and actually research what I'm talking about, be objective about things, don't think emotionally, you're going to see that what I'm saying makes sense. Okay? If it didn't make sense, I wouldn't be fucking saying it, would I? I don't have a teleprompter, I'm not reading a script. This is obviously not a studio. This is my workspace. This is where I breed clownfish for hopefully a living soon. I'm going to be breeding several different varieties of marine ornamentals because I can no longer work on cars. My body's just kind of getting too old, I guess. But what you have in the, like say if you just go to CNN's channel and just count the number of videos about Trump, count the number of videos about what people say about Trump, and then count the number of videos about Hillary. What you find is that they let Ivanka Trump speak about her father more than Hillary Clinton gets to say anything about herself other than defending the email thing. Now I'm going to get into the email thing a little bit on this video and probably a whole lot on another video. Okay? Probably just later on this video, and we're going to do like a Hillary Clinton video soon. Just to see, you know, just to go into every different little thing that she's been accused of, blah, blah, blah. Alright? And I'm not into apologetics. I'm into forgiveness. Okay? And I'm into understanding people's potential, though. And if you understood Hillary's potential versus Trump and slanders, it's no contest. You need to vote for Hillary Clinton. We need her. We need her as our next president. Alright? We don't need friends of the enemy. Okay? Putin calls Donald Trump a genius. Donald Trump says he can get along just fine with Putin. Meanwhile, Putin is the one sending waves of fucking migrants into Europe. Okay? That's a fact, Jack. I know it's hard to believe. I know it's hard to swallow. But this is a clear objective laid out by the Soviet Union as of 1976, okay? And it's been happening right under our noses, but we all thought the Cold War ended, so we just didn't put two and two together, okay? And that's what I say. You can hate what I say by reacting emotionally to it, but if you actually go back and say, wait a minute, what if all these professional liars are actually lying to me? And what if this one guy who seems to understand the way the world works is actually onto something? Now, I could say things to establish credibility like, you know, my father-in-law is a fucking general, my entire family has been involved in the national security apparatus, and I've been, you know, a bit of an intellectual my entire life. Okay. And, you know, I've just always studied global strategy, global politics. I've always been a non-stereotypical American. Okay? It didn't take the internet for me to get interested. Alright? And as far as the internet goes, I have been nothing on the internet since 1994. Okay, I've had the same screen name, the same email addresses, plural, since 1994. Okay, so just wrap your brain around how much I have observed on here. Okay, and bear in mind, I require very little sleep. Okay? Oh, I know the psychoanalysts out there are going nuts with that one. So, anyway. Psychoanalysts are probably really going nuts with Donald Trump. Wow. Okay, but let's get into Bernie Sanders, shall we? One of the chief media proponents, the biggest propaganda free, ad agencies that Bernie Sanders has right now, is the YouTube channel which you all know about, called The Young Turks. Okay? Now, if anybody here already knows why the Young Turks are called the Young Turks, please put so in the comments, or please say so in the comments, because I would like to see just how many people are actually generally educated on things before they go and blindly follow someone. Okay? Because I would say that if you knew what the Young Turks actually meant, that name, you could see enough of what they represent to know that if they support somebody, you probably shouldn't. Okay? Now, what the Young Turks represent is the solution to Whitey in the way. Okay? And that's a generalization that is a metaphor for what the original name was and what they're doing now. Okay? And I am not a racist, I am not a white supremacist by any means, but I believe every culture has its right to exist. Okay? And as a Christian, my culture is under attack. Okay? And if you think atheism is protected by the Constitution, you are sorely mistaken, because your atheism amounts to simple persecution of my protected religion. And yes, that's basically what it means to be an atheist, is to go around persecuting Christians. If you have doubts about God's existence, you have a right to have doubts. Name me one scientific study that has proven God does not exist before you go and mock people for believing in him or whatever version of God they believe in, Not Christians in particular. They, like Bill Maher, okay? Bill Maher, you're an anti-Semite. Because what you make fun of about Christianity are the things written in the Old Testament by, guess who? A Jews. Gesundheit. Well, so let's have a little stuff you don't know about. A little SYDKA, shall we? The Young Turks were a militia that was funded by both sides, mysteriously, okay, by the Ottomans and the Kazakhstani Sultanate. But what they did was commit a little thing called the Armenian Genocide. Now see, at the time, the Armenians were a bit of an independent nation, okay? But where they sat was in between the Ottoman Empire the Soviet Union, or the forming Soviet Union. Okay? And that's a bit of a convoluted history as far as when the Soviet Union actually formed, where the people that rule now, when they were in power. But the people that are in power now are essentially royalty who have long held residence in Georgia, which is right north of Serbia. So one could infer that they had something to do with this, okay, because it was Russian military from other places that went and invaded Turkey after this, okay. But what was happening before that, before the history parts that you probably know about, is this group called the Young Turks was basically going and hunting down Armenians village by village and exterminating them, men, women, and children. Okay, and the reason why I call them Whitey in the way is because here you have the Soviet Union, okay, and here you have the caliphate of the time, okay? And these weren't Mongolized white people. These were not Kazakhs who were culturally brainwashed by the horde, okay? And these were not any type of Slavic race that had been kidnapped, rebred, and then recolonized. And if that sounds a bit far out to you, you need to go back and watch my previous videos, okay? See, a long time ago, there was this guy named Cain, and he liked it cold. So he went to Nod, alright? He didn't really like the cold, but at the time, if you were a paranoid strategic thinker, which, you know, the god of war would be, you would want your back to a wall, and the nearest wall was the ice in the north. Okay? So that empire has been in the north, in the best defensive strategic position, which y'all know, you know, what happens when you invade Moscow, right? Winter comes. What are you going to do? Come from the other way? You know? Okay. Notes clearly aren't complete enough for me to keep a train of thought right now. Where's the coffee? There's the coffee. Alright, so basically over history, this empire became the Forgotten Empire. Well, okay, this empire over here, where basically the other side of Byzantium, okay, the place where Alexander went, that you don't really hear about what happened afterwards, okay, this is the secret that all these media people try to fucking protect. Okay, there's an entire superpower base, conglomerate between parts of China, parts of Kazakhstan, parts of parts of Korea, you know, the north part of Korea, all cooperating with Putin's plans of empire. Okay? And Putin, not a real white person. Look at him closely. That's what we used to call a Mongol. Okay, a Mongol is not a race of people. They are a mix. Made for one purpose. Possession. And I know that's a bit deep for most people to handle. But think of it this way. You kidnap people. This is purely strategic analysis. You send in raiding parties, okay? You kidnap people, you give them to your men, give the women and children to their men, they raise them, then they send them back as migrants, then they cause a rebellion, okay? They get to migrate pretty easily because guess what? They look like those people now. But their minds are changed forcefully. That's what I call possession. So, the Young Turks, all right, just summing up the point, whatever the fuck I was making, right? The Young Turks are named for this Islamic militia that wiped out and effectively neutered for the rest of history a nation of Caucasian people who had not been conquered. Strong people. A little on the hairy side, but strong people. Oh, come on, that's a joke that any Armenian is going to laugh at. I've known Armenians. Okay. Does the name Kalustyan ring a bell? Don't fuck with me. Okay. So, not Kardashian. Okay. So, a little more SYDKA, in addition to the Young Turks being named after a genocidal group meant to eliminate the white people, the real white people that had their own culture and everything, that were not interested in slavery, were not interested in oppressing other races, okay, just their own culture. Just like your own culture you'd have in India, like your own culture you'd have in Africa, like your own culture you'd have in South America, and the Philippines, okay? White people should get to have it too, right? Well, they weren't allowed to because of the Young Turks. So this little news group couldn't be propaganda, right? They named themselves the Young Turks. And what do? What is their specialty? White liberal guilt. In general. Period. Their whole motif is making white people laugh at how stupid white people are. Oh. Now again, not a racist, not a white power person, but I'm not a moron who thinks that all cultures on the planet should be wiped out by force. Which, guess what? According to their name, the Young Turks do. And it's funny how those objectives have so much in common with the self-proclaimed objectives of most atheists. But most atheists make their fanciful wishes in complete absence, in complete ignorance, in complete avoidance of the fact that Islam and communism exist and cooperate. They cooperate. They cooperate. Okay? Stop denying it and you'll see the entire world clearly. If you don't think that Islamic fascist imperialism and communist fascist imperialism have been cooperating for decades, I want you to put in the comments below where you think all the AK-47s came from. Okay? Okay. Now, let's do a little more SYDKA, shall we? While we're talking about the Soviet Union and Islam, let's talk about a place that you did not know that these two forces were quite involved with each other. That's a place called Libya, especially a place called Benghazi. All right. Now, if you're not familiar with the history of Libya, Libya was the avenue through which the Soviet Union supplied most terrorist organizations with weapons. Lots of weapons. weapons capable of taking down passenger airliners, even to the I almost called them Iranians. Even to the Irish. Yeah. So yes, Gaddafi was supplying weapons to terrorist organizations as far back as the fucking 70s, people. So yeah, he had to go. Alright? And the reason why there's this big media brouhaha about it is because he was the Soviet Union's weapons manufacturer's homeboy. Okay? Look it up. Do a little research. Think. It's not illegal yet. Okay? It will be if Islam or communism takes over, I guarantee you. But in this country that you should love, in this land of peace where you rest, I think you should have the wherewithal, the diligence, the vigilance, perhaps, of knowing the reality of a situation before you let a video tell you all about it and tell you what to think about it and form your opinion for you and cause you to react and think emotionally. You see, what happened before we overthrew Gaddafi was that the Russians were building a fucking base in Benghazi, dumbasses. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a grumpy old fucking man sometimes, but the Russians were building a base in the Russians, Vladimir Putin, was building a base in Benghazi. The guy who created RT was building a base in Benghazi. So now, we want to see Hillary Clinton's emails, right? Not like there could be any national security secrets, right? Even though we're accusing her of sharing national security secrets, exposing national security, possibly exposing national security secrets. So what are these fucking new people? These people that have all taken office since the Lewinsky scandal or later. Most of them took office in 2008 and 9, okay? These people heading up this committee that wants to get all their Hillary Clinton's emails, right? They have secrets on them. National security secrets. So we would like them all made public. What? So wait, you're mad at her for possibly exposing national security secrets, so now you would all like to see them and make them public. Makes fucking perfect sense to me. Now, you see, I'm going to skip down to stuff that's coming into memory that I wrote down on notes. The rules that they're talking about as far as turning in copies of communications to the GAO, the General Accounting Office, okay, that rule wasn't put in place until Colin Powell, okay? And those rules were actually very vague, okay? There wasn't a definition of what that thing was. Then, after the Republicans took the House, during Hillary Clinton's tenure, they clarified the rules. And at that point, if Hillary Clinton sent a fucking text message, she had to print out a photocopy of it and file it. Every single message, really? You expect our Secretary of State to do that? Charming. How many ways are you trying to neuter our ability to resist the empires, plural, that want to destroy us? Okay. Now, a little shout out to Flat Earthers Hillary Clinton, it's a big joke now. It's well known. Hillary Clinton wants NASA gone. Okay? Hillary Clinton is not a friend of NASA. Okay? And if you've watched my videos and you know my general view on the subject, as far as the Soviet Union has been leading the way into space the whole time, despite what we've been telling ourselves. Okay? You know the moon landing is fake, right? Okay, so then at what point did we gain the advantage in the space program? Okay, so you're focusing on NASA, who had to fake their space program. Meanwhile, the people who are actually leading the way into space, until you fell for that, even though it's fake, you're still falling for it, even though it's fake, because you're falling for it in the fact that you're seeing NASA as the people who lead the way into space, when they're practically not even involved in space anymore. Okay? And please, consider the things that they do now. That's about what they're worth. Okay? CGI. Most of it. And who's launching real rockets all the time? Claiming that they're going to the ISS. Huh? These other channels are lying to you. I'm sorry, they're just fucking lying to you. I'm sorry I'm not more entertaining, but I'm not lying to you. Some of the shit I say is a little hard to follow, but be a vigilant person. And please try to understand that I'm right, okay? And I wouldn't be wasting your fucking time if I didn't know I was right. I don't make any assumptive statements. Okay? This is all based on vast experience here. And, you know, a lot of it is from this lifetime. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that my experience was limited to my past 37 fucking, you know, whatever years. So anyway. I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, sorry about that. Alright, so let's talk about CNN. Does anybody get the impression that that one guy on CNN just fucking hates Hillary Clinton? I mean, he was pretty damn mean to Obama the entire time. You know, the liberal media, right? CNN is the liberal media, right? Fucking hates CNN. Fucking hates Hillary Clinton. Okay? They don't ever even post a story on their channel about Hillary Clinton unless it has to do with the emails. Morning Joe. Okay? Morning Joe. Not only are they wearing the black fucking glasses, which, by the way, you know, Rick Perry suddenly started wearing black glasses when Putin starts taking over. All these fucking people, when Putin starts taking over, start wearing these black glasses. You need to be suspicious about that shit. Okay? Because there's two types of people that'll put on black glasses in that situation. People who are signifying that they're willing to cooperate, and people who are trying to pretend like they're willing to cooperate. And all I'm going to say is I wish we had more of the latter, but I'm afraid that's not the case. So, Morning Joe keeps repeating this line, nothing sticks to Donald Trump. Pretends like he's been critical of him, but oh, nothing sticks to Donald Trump. Nothing sticks to Donald Trump. Everything Hillary Clinton says sticks to her. Yeah, because you keep on making the same fucking emails over and over again about Hillary Clinton. And it doesn't matter how many different fucking things that Donald Trump does that are worse than having a fucking private email server. Okay. Which, by the way, let me just talk about it. Okay. The servers that she would have had to use had she not brought in her own server were fucking basic Pentium 4s, about 800 megahertz, I believe, was the processor speed. Okay? You could buy a 3 gigahertz processor on the fucking market at that point. So the ability for that server to maintain security in a post-Cold War environment might have been expected to be fine. But if Hillary Clinton, which she was, becoming apprised of the situation that the Cold War has been reignited, she would need a very fucking private server. And media is being used like the KGB right now. You know, probably because most of them are fucking children and actual operatives of the KGB. But anyways. So, moving on. I'm sorry this is kind of random. So Bernie is eager to debate Trump. Trump started talking about, I'd like to have a debate with Bernie Sanders. And Bernie's like, bring it on or some shit on a tweet, you know. But then, you know, after Bernie says, no, we're not going to do it after all, right? Now Trump's been praising Bernie. So, I'd rather have Bernie as Clinton. Morning gas. I'm sorry. I'm fucking like letting out little burps while I'm trying to speak. Drink some more coffee. That'll not help at all. But let's analyze their policies a little bit, shall we? Now, obviously, republicanism and socialism are very different things. And the platforms that they state that they stand for are very different things. If you can actually narrow down a thing that Trump is actually proposing to do as far as economics goes. Okay? But understanding what they have in common requires one to understand the economic and security apparatus that the United States of America depends on to survive and prosper. Okay? And bear in mind that our prosperity is actually key to our survival. We have to have a capitalist economy that can make a whole lot of money, or we're going to get our asses kicked. Because there is a communist fascist empire and an Islamist fascist empire that sees us as the protectors of everything they would like to conquer. Okay? Therefore, they want everybody to see us as evil, as the enemy. Okay? And the things that they say, propaganda-wise, to convince their own people to hate us are the same things that Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump say that are wrong with this country. Or, in Donald Trump's case, he more exemplifies those things. Now, economic security. Okay, how these things intertwine. You have one person who wants to risk them with corrupt capitalism, and you have one person who wants to completely abandon our current economy. Okay, now I understand reform. Democrats are for reform. That's what Democrats do. That's what Hillary Clinton will do, incrementally, just like Barack Obama did, just like Bill Clinton did up until the Lewinsky scandal. And there's a lot of things that can be misunderstood, like NAFTA and like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Okay, but you know, Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are both opposed to NAFTA, both opposed to this new Trans-Pacific Partnership, and so is RT. Okay, so is every single provable Russian media channel on YouTube, every provable Russian propaganda website. Okay, TPP bad. Okay, Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, both agree. Well, why is that? Because the TPP spreads our economic prosperity to our military allies that oppose Islamofascist and communist fascist aggression. Namely communist, because of where it is. Okay? But if you want to sit there and hate on the TPP, tell me what it is you dislike about America and Australia becoming better friends. Because I think they're probably the two most natural friend, especially people in the far right. Okay? You want the white man to survive, right? I agree. Alright? Fair enough. Why do you hate the TPP when it brings Australia and America closer together with the people that Australia would prefer to do more business with so that it doesn't have to do so much business with China? You understand? This is all about helping these countries who are closer to China and closer to Australia, helping them do more business with us, with each other, and with Australia. That's what the TPP is about. Okay? Now you can see why the Soviet Union, you can see why Vladimir Putin and all his little media fucking henchmen would not want that. Can't you? It doesn't seem that hard to grasp to me. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna look at my notes now. Alright. So here's another interesting thing. You remember how Obama equals socialist? You know, like on Fox News? You know, you'd be watching Fox. Obama's a socialist, Obama's a socialist, Obama's socialist. You know? Socialist Obama. Just, you know, even though basically what he's done since he's been in office was very centrist, very responsible, capitalism oriented. Okay? Just like a Democrat should do, right? Now, when they talk about Hillary versus Bernie, when they talk about Trump and Bernie, when they talk about all three of them, how many times in those conversations do they mention that the difference between Hillary and Bernie is that Bernie used to be a socialist and basically stands for socialist ideas? Could still be a socialist, just pretending to be a Democrat for all anybody knows. The questions get raised one time and then moved on with. Okay? So I know they're legitimate questions, but in the past several weeks, in the past months, they don't get raised again. All we're talking about is what they want you to think about. Bullshit. You see, the main thing Bernie and Trump have in common is one is a severe danger to our economic security from a policy standpoint, from an internal practices standpoint, and the other is a danger to our economic security Because he will make America as hated as it was under Bush. Maybe even worse, considering how advanced the media system has got. He is literally there. If he gets elected, and you know, I don't think he's going to get elected, but according to their plan, if he gets elected, he will be the poster child for why America must be destroyed. Mark my words, children. Can't you see it? You know they wanted Germany the fuck out of their way. That's why they funded the National Socialist Party. Oh. And they dropped their funding for the local Communist Party. Democrats are getting dropped. Bernie's getting funded. Thanks to the Young Turks. Why is that? Because Hillary Clinton was personally insulted, personally embarrassed, and more than just with the email thing. Okay, this is going to be, you know, more gone into on the other video that I'm thinking about making. But she has actual vendetta, actual reason to be paranoid of and distrust our enemy, Vladimir Putin. Okay? And I highly recommend people watch Putin Documentary HD. There's like a channel called Putin Documentary. Good fucking documentaries on that channel. Real summative of everything over the past 20 years that you've really probably not heard about. Okay? And it'll explain a lot about Benghazi especially. You know, things that are documented before the so-called scandal erupted. It's always interesting to see documentaries that get made before the agenda develops. You know what I'm saying? Alright. So, according to Fox News, Barack Obama socialist, but Bernie, they don't mention that very much because they want him to win. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I would think a lot of Trump voters would actually vote Bernie. You know? But I don't know. They got all the buttons, all the emotional buttons lined up in a row. They split them evenly, and they're pushing them all at once, okay? There isn't a single one missing. And when two political platforms read out like a strategy manual on how to divide and conquer a country, Captain Obvious needs to step in. Yeah. So, no mention of socialism regarding Hillary Clinton and Bernie. They just don't talk about it very much because it makes Hillary Clinton look good. That's why. Because it makes Hillary Clinton look like the responsible centrist that she would actually govern like. Okay? But another thing they don't mention is that Russian base in Benghazi. Now, why with all the coverage that Fox News gives to the Benghazi issue, do they just fail to mention that we were trying to stop, and I believe we were unsuccessful, we were trying to stop the Russians from building a base there. We've certainly slowed down and downsized that base, but you can't mark that as a success when they basically moved into Syria instead, which they had already moved into after 2005 anyways, to supply roadside bombing equipment to terrorists that were blowing up American soldiers. Russians were supplying them through Syria to the former Baathists, and by proxy, murdering thousands of Americans. Understand that. We are at war. And Hillary Clinton knows it. And that's why you're being made to hate her. Divide and conquer. You are a victim. I'm asking you to wake up. Alright. So, Trump is the capitalist, right? Bernie's a socialist. We all know what socialist means. It means an end to our economy. An end to our ability to have a large military. Okay? It means everybody gets to be on an equal footing, equally easy to conquer. Alright? But Trump is a capitalist. What type of capitalism? What makes Trump so bad? He's just a businessman, right? No, he's the worst type of capitalist there is. Okay? He's interested in over-dramatizing shoddy products. Okay? He does this with the individual products that he makes. He does this with the real estate investments that he puts together. Cheap construction. Okay? No value holding. And what's worse is that he's one of these guys, when you think of why the stock market needs to be regulated or should be abolished according to, Bernie Sanders supporters, right? He is the exact type of person who causes those needs. He is the exact type of person and professes it proudly that he likes to take advantage of boom and bust and bear economies. He likes to take advantage, when a bubble bursts, you can make a whole lot of money. That's him. Do we want that to represent America? I thought we were trying to move beyond that. Okay? Now, as far as his immigration stance, I don't see why people have problems with fucking Mexicans. Mexicans are wonderful people, alright? Now, culturally, any shitty economy, when their people come to a country that's got a nicer economy, some of them can't find jobs, and over generations, they become bitter. And the way they raise their kids becomes bitter. They talk bitterly to their kids about that new country that they're in. Then those kids become criminals. Okay? This is not specific to Mexican immigration. Okay? This is something that happens in any two countries where one is doing better than the other economically. Alright? The fact of the matter is, and I lived in Texas, okay? I've known a lot of Mexicans. Se habla español, okay? Most, 99.9% of Mexican people have better social values and value Christian morals more than popular white culture, more than what's become of, the Jersey Shore Kardashian crowd, the Miley Cyrus listeners. Okay? Be objective. Don't let somebody's fucking skin color trigger your emotional thought to all these other factoids. Okay? Now, as far as the Muslim ban goes, this is what I'm talking about. He doesn't understand our security needs and our economic needs, okay? When you go and talk like that, you risk billions of dollars, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, much more money than Trump has ever fucking dealt with, okay? In global trade, in security apparatus trade, alright? in just general economic trade. And what you also risk is, again, you know how I said they use the same propaganda that, like, Sanders says, and they say that America is what Trump is? Okay? What he's doing is throwing gasoline on the flames. Because you know what they do after they see Trump speak? These Islamic clerics who want to send people to blow up people in Europe and people here? They say, see? Told you so. That's what America is. A bunch of white people that hate anybody who aren't white. He's throwing gas on the flames, and guess what? All your supporters, you're just giving him the cans of gas that he needs to make him look like the legitimate face of this country. Oh, what a tragedy that would be. Oh, what an obvious test God is putting you through, to see if you can see with your heart and not just your greedy little eyes. To see what you can grab with your tiny little hands. Oh. Do you think he was a T-Rex in a form of... Okay, never mind. Notes. So, basically, the type of capitalist that Donald Trump is one with no morals, no ethics, and as far as a political personality goes, at worst, he's a pathological liar. At best, he's a flip-flopper. And I'm sorry, anybody who supports Donald Trump is simply not being objective about much. Okay? He speaks the truth. What truth is that? Really? No. It's called pushing emotional hot buttons. People confuse it for the truth all the time. And I want you to take a step back, take a deep breath, and realize that you're being manipulated. Because notes are over. You know, he's going to take everything he can get his tiny little hands on, okay? And he has no moral compass to guide him. There are no ethics to his business practices. That word just did not want to come out, did it? There are no ethics to his business practices other than what he learned in 2 Corinthians. Okay? So, I say we need to tell him to get his tiny little hands off the fucking presidency. Okay? Because we don't need somebody whose ego is easily bruised in command of our military. Alright? That's just scary enough by itself. But then the fact that basically he's proven that he is a master of production. Okay? We don't want somebody like Bush who's going to produce things. I mean, do you really want like a Sandy Hook fucking specialist if you think Sandy Hook was fake? Do you want somebody who is a specialist in media manipulation, in production, in drama? Who has a track record of being as greedy as a Mammonite? Are you kidding me? So, I guess that's all I gotta say for now. I need to turn on my little fishy lights. And it's time enough to turn on my bright lights on here. And I'll give you a nice little view of the fish tanks before we go. Shall we? Yeah, why not? Alright, so Hercules have a bunch of eggs that are going to hatch Saturday night. They're just starting to get a little bit of silver on their eyes. And here is my and Bob's little paradise island. And I just kind of ran into one of these at Walmart and decided to see if she took to it. And she has. She's kind of just pretending like it's her little anemone. It's kind of cool. So when she matures, she'll probably spawn right there. But we do have a new addition to the tank. Let me see if I can find her. She is a little bit elusive because she's got the camouflage capabilities of a cuttlefish. So let's see if she'll come out here. Myrtle. Layla said she looked like a turtle, so we named her Myrtle. And there she is. And she changes color to camouflage herself. She's up on the walls right there. She'll kind of get this little pale brown stuff going. You know, talk about a cool fish, man. This is a cool fish. Alright, come on. Sorry. Be a cool fish if we could see it, dumbass. I know. So this is a matted filefish, or a pygmy bristletail. But I'm not sure whether or not that was just a sales term. So I'm going to see how big this guy gets. It's a she, we think. Just an entertaining fish to watch, I think. Anyway. So, yeah, this is about, I guess, a month old now. And, it's siphoned into the main system. Basically, this tank, that big drum or round tub, and this tank all drain into this bottom tank. This AquaClear 50 power head provides return flow to the two main tanks, and I'm just using a simple 2-hose siphon attached to an old power head bracket and insulated. Let me see if I can get over here. Alright, big legs on the camera stand. Insulated with paper towels. It goes down in there. And there's the little return spigot. And that just flows down in here somewhere. And you can't see it. Okay. So, yeah. Bruce the Mandarin is still doing fine down there. Current plan, I've kind of isolated the current down here. The current plan is with the current. And hopefully the fish fry will be able to survive in this bottom area. But what I'm going to do, so I don't risk the entire clutch, the entire group of fry, is I'm probably going to siphon out some with that little egg trap, the larva trap, and I'm going to let some go down in here. So we'll see if this is survivable without risking all of them. And of course the rest are going to go into this tub over here. And I'm going to upgrade my phytoplankton capacity because apparently I was just spreading the cultures too thin. And it died 2 days ago. But the rotifers and pods are still alive, and hopefully get my phytoplankton in today and start getting their population density back up, because hatch night is Saturday, it is Thursday, and that's not really good timing. So anyways, I hope those of you who wish I made more videos during the summer found this to be satisfying. I tried to update people and share as much of my very relevant wisdom as I could. Please like this video by clicking the thumbs up button, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and please comment, tell me what you think about the fish tanks, tell me if you have any logical arguments to what I was saying. But I'm not interested in links, oh, here's a good story that CNN posted about Hillary Clinton. Here's a bad story. I know they're talking bad about Trump, okay? But they're not focusing on any one thing. They're not holding him to account on any one thing. They're just kind of like this, this, and this, and then this, this, and this, and then this, this, and this. And it's kind of like during the Bush administration, where he would just do so much fucking bad shit that when you were asked to list the bad shit that he did, your mind drew a fucking blank because there was too much stuff to pick from. But, so yeah, if you don't want Bush, the sequel, okay, if you don't want another House of Cards built in our fucking Washington, D.C., like this video, and don't fucking vote for Trump. Or Sanders, for that matter. Oh my God. If you don't like bread lines, don't vote for Sanders. Okay? Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace.